The Torres Strait Islander people are one of two Indigenous groups in Australia, Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people, and that is my people.
我哋澳洲有兩種嘅原住土人，一個咧就係我哋澳洲本地啦，一個就係我哋頭先嗰群島嘅原住居民。
I have been striving to improve the lives of Indigenous peoples in this country for a very long time, and we have been getting nowhere. Indigenous peoples have a life expectancy gap, expected to die much younger, as 10 years younger than other Australians in the cities, and in remote communities around 20 years younger.
我係花咗好長時間去想令到我哋澳洲嘅原住土人嘅生活進步，但係咧我哋原住土人咧嗰個壽命啊喺 city 喺城市住嗰啲咧係短過大部分人嘅10年。如果喺遠啲嘅地方嗰啲咧，佢哋嘅壽命咧係比平時我哋澳洲人咧係短20年。
Our children are more likely to go to prison than they are to go to university.
我哋嘅細路仔咧，有好大機會咧係去咗坐監，就唔係話係去大學讀書。
And also the incarceration rates for Indigenous adults proportionately are some of the worst in the world.
至於成人嗰個坐監嘅率咧，係我哋全世界澳洲咧係算係最差嘅一個國家。
I could go on. There are many gaps for Indigenous people to other Australians. This is not a matter of our culture or our humanity. This is a political and structural problem in this country that we can fix together.
呢個咁不公平嘅情況咧，其實咧唔係話唔關我哋人類任何嘢，但係一個政治嘅問題，我哋一齊咧可以將佢改善嘅。
This is what the referendum on Saturday is about, and I'll answer some questions from Jerome now to help you get a deeper understanding about the referendum.
今個禮拜六呢個選個憲法嘅就係呢個就係愛嚟咧去改善呢個問題。咁我而家咧會接受我哋勒沙議員幾個問題，我會回答。
Thanks, Thomas, for your intro, and thank him for coming today. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. So the referendum on Saturday is the conclusion of a long process, one that you've been involved in with a long time. Can you tell us a brief history of how we got to a referendum and the process that brings us to Saturday?
今個禮拜六嗰個選呢個憲法咧，就係終極嘅決定㗎啦。咁你可唔可以話俾我聽，究竟我哋選呢個憲法嘅精髓係乜嘢咧？
So things are getting worse for Indigenous people. The gap is getting wider. And in 2017, Indigenous people came together in the heart of our country at Uluru and had a big meeting. 我哋原住土人同埋其他澳洲人嗰個生活嗰個質素咧，越嚟越差得遠。咁咧就喺呢個 Uluru 嗰度，我哋咧就設計咗呢個改憲法嘅問題。 And what we agreed at the meeting is to invite all Australian people to accept recognition of us in the Constitution of Australia through a voice so that we can take the solutions
to the government to improve our lives.
我哋嘅精髓咧就係想邀請所有嘅澳洲人去認同我哋澳洲原住土人嘅我哋嘅承載同埋攞呢個認同咧帶去俾政府咧去做一個改善。
So for over 6 years, we were pushing and pushing to have this opportunity for this referendum, and that is how we have led up to this moment.
呢個係6年好艱苦同埋好努力嘅成果，去到而家嚟緊呢個14號禮拜六呢個終極嘅投票。
So our constitution was written 122 years ago, and it does not mention Indigenous Australians or recognise the 65,000 years of culture. What question are we being asked on Saturday? And if there's a yes vote, what will it mean?
我哋澳洲嘅憲法咧係122年前去寫嘅，咁樣喺個憲法咁多年前寫咧係完全咧係冇去承認我哋澳洲原住嘅居民。咁樣今個禮拜六我哋呢個終極去選呢個改憲法咧，究竟我哋澳洲人會被問啲乜嘢問題去決定乜嘢嘅問題咧？請問
65,000 years, a long history of Indigenous people in this country that should make us all very proud of Australia. When we vote at the referendum, if we vote yes, we are saying yes to embracing that culture and including it in our constitution. And we are also saying yes to Indigenous people having a say about the decisions that are made about us. That's what we are saying yes to when we vote yes.
禮拜六咧，我哋澳洲人咧就會喺個憲法嗰度問我哋究竟願唔願意係認同我哋澳洲本土本土居民嘅存在？呢個係一個65,000年嘅歷史，我哋已經喺呢個澳洲呢個地方㗎啦。
So if a yes vote is carried, an advisory body will be established. How do you think it'll work, and how will it make our country better?
The Voice is just a committee.
Oops, sorry. Let's translate the question.
Sorry.
如果今個禮拜六咧係即是 yes 係成功改個憲法咧，咁將會有一個喺我哋國會咧有一個諮詢政府嘅委員會。咁樣呢個諮詢政府嘅委員會究竟係有啲乜嘢效力，可以做啲乜嘢嘅咧？
When we say yes, the Voice is a committee that Indigenous people in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities choose representation. So maybe 24 representatives, male and female from each region, will form a committee to give advice about how to improve our lives.
如果成功嘅話咧，咁樣喺我哋會有24個唔同嘅原住土人嘅領袖，有男有女咧，咁樣就會形成呢個顧問嘅團體去俾意見我哋個政府。
Now, Indigenous Australians have a very unique part in our culture, and I guess want you to explain how, in the past, laws have been specifically made for Indigenous Australians. My father is Mauritian, and the government doesn't make laws about Mauritian Australians. My mother is French, and the government doesn't make laws about French Australians. The government doesn't make laws about Chinese Australians. So they do for Indigenous Australians. Can you explain, I guess, why that is and why the voice is important, and maybe some examples? So that's a long one, but
我哋澳洲咧，
有好多唔同嘅民族，但係咧個國會咧淨係對我哋原住土人咧係會有特別嘅法例，但係又唔見我哋中國人其他嘅種族個國會去成立一啲特別嘅法例去俾嗰個特別嘅民族，但係咧我哋原住土人就會有特別嘅法例嚟管我哋喎。
Firstly, the connection Chinese people and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians goes back a long time. We share many of the same struggles in the history of this country for prejudice and racism. We share a close bond also with intermarriage, especially in the north where I am from.
我哋原住土人同我哋大家中國人咧，其實咧都有一個好親切嘅關係，尤其是喺喺北區嗰邊咧，我哋好多原住土民同埋我哋中國人咧都有大家去成家立室，同埋咧我哋亦都係兩個民族都係喺澳洲咧受過一個俾種族歧視嘅經驗都好犀利嘅。
When Australia became a country in 1901, they made the race power, the power to make special laws about any race.
喺1901年嗰陣時咧，我哋澳洲成立嗰陣時咧，嗰個國家決定咗俾個國會去有一個權力去立法咧，去管任何一個民族嘅人。
For a long time, this power has only been used to make special laws about Indigenous people.
呢個國會個能力咧，但係雖然佢有一個能力，但係佢咧淨係選擇對我哋原住土人去立例去管制我哋。
And the government makes these laws without speaking to us first because we do not have a voice.
而政府去立呢啲咁嘅法例管理我哋咧，但係就完全咧冇問過我哋嘅意見，因為我哋喺國會入面咧，我哋係冇代表。
So the voice or the committee that we are saying yes to gives us the fairness of that having a say.
所以今次如果改到憲法嘅話咧，就會咧令到我哋喺國會入面咧會有一把聲音喺度。
Last question. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Things like a voice will steal your land, make you pay rent, that a voice will slow down how our government works. Did you want to address some of that and I guess reiterate what the voice is really about?
喺呢個一路以來咧，開始有好多嘅傳謠，話呢個如果改咗憲法咧，我哋啲居民哋會俾人攞咗啊，又或者我哋要俾租啊，又或者咧我哋成個政府咧會變咗拖慢咗。
The voice can only give advice to the government. It cannot take anything away from any Australians. You might hear the misinformation trying to scare you into voting no, about losing your house or Indigenous people having some special rights over and above you. This is not the case. The voice can only give advice to improve our health, education for our children, to build a better future for all of us.
嗰啲嘅傳謠係完全唔正確嘅。呢個 The Voice 咧，如果係成功咗咧，就只係一個顧問嘅團體。呢個顧問嘅團體咧，就唔會將澳洲人任何嘢去拎走，亦都唔會損害我哋嘅權利，只係一個顧問嘅團體去俾意見我哋嘅國會立法。
So to just conclude, yeah?
Yep.
To conclude, I want to thank you for listening. I want to ask you to not just vote yes, but to go out and speak to your family and your friends and ask them to vote yes too, for the future of this country, to reconcile our past and to give Indigenous people an opportunity to have a better life.
好多謝你哋今次俾呢個機會我嚟同大家解釋。我希望你禮拜六咧唔係淨係選一個 yes 嘅票，但係咧你翻到屋企咧，亦都叫你嘅親戚朋友一齊去支持改呢個憲法。
Thank you, Felix. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Authorised by Jerome Laxale, ALP, 32 Beecroft Road, Epping, New South Wales 2121.